Welcome to the Presence Podcast. In this series, we're going to look at how we can each encounter the presence of God more effectively and how God's presence is always with us.
I don't know about you, but sometimes my day gets crazy busy. And even though I've had a lovely time with God in the morning, by lunchtime, it's as if it never happened. In Bible college, I learned about this ancient monastic practice called the daily office. It was basically a routine where at certain times of the day and night, they would stop what they were doing and go into the chapel for a time of Bible reading, prayer, and worship. One of our assignments was to write our own daily office, and I soon realised that I would be a terrible monk. I hate being told what to do and when to do it, so a strict routine is not going to work for me and my personality. What I found really useful was to think about the things I already do every day, parts of my normal busy routine, and use these things as a conscious reminder of God's presence with me. Let me give you a couple of examples. I love coffee. The first thing I do every morning is to make a coffee, grab my phone, and head to my chair by the window for a few quiet moments to wake up. I have a Bible before Facebook rule, so I spend that first 10 to 15 minutes of the day enjoying my coffee with God. I read a chapter of the Bible on my phone and allow God's truth to speak life and peace into my day. Then, during subsequent cups of coffee during the day, and there could be several, I become aware of God's presence with me again. I remember the Bible reading and the words of life that I read that morning. I'm not adding anything extra into my busy day, but I'm using something I already do and enjoy to bring God's presence into my consciousness. Here's another example. I can find myself getting quite stressed and anxious sometimes when I'm working on a difficult project or trying to get something done in a tight deadline. The stress I feel actually makes it more difficult for me to focus and work productively, which makes me even more stressed, and I get into this terrible downward cycle. It sounds a bit weird saying this out loud, but this is what works for me. I pull up an empty chair or stool into my workspace, sometimes right beside me at my desk. The empty chair is a very tangible reminder that God is with me. It reminds me of the verse in James chapter 1 that says, "If anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask God who gives generously to all." Having that empty chair brings God's presence into my consciousness. It reminds me to ask Him for help when I'm stuck. It reminds me that I'm not alone. And it actually brings peace into my heart and makes me more focused and productive working under pressure. One last example. When I'm shopping, I always stand still on the travelator. It can be a bit annoying for all the people behind me who are in a hurry, but I stand there and remember to be still and know that He is God. I ask God for guidance and wisdom as I go into the shops, because I need all the wisdom I can get when I'm in Garden City. These simple practices remind me of God's presence and actually make a difference to the way that I cope with my busy life. Can I encourage you? If you already have a busy life and find it hard to add extra time to be with God in your day, think of the things you already do, things you enjoy and things that stress you out, and find a way to remember God's presence with you in that space. Keep it super simple, like drinking coffee, pulling up a chair, or standing on a travelator. Develop your own daily office and be reminded of God's presence regularly during your day.
Thanks for joining us today in our Presence Podcast. We hope you picked up a thought or an idea that might just help you come a little closer to God and sense His presence in your everyday life.